Yo, CCC, what's up? I know you're just about clapped out, but just take 1 second to give yourselves a big, huge round of applause. This is an incredible accomplishment. You know, it does really, truly seem like it was just yesterday when it was the late 90s and I myself had just graduated. The 4 years previous all became an action-packed blur full of chance meetings and late nights studying and going to see concerts and theater and just roaming around the streets of the great city of Chicago. Like they was said before, I wanted to be an actor since I was 10 years old, and I knew that I wanted to tell stories even before that. Once I took this stage in the starring role of the Little Prince at the Touchstone Theater all the way out in the middle of nowhere that I came to know as the place where Mr. T cut down all of his trees, a suburb called Lake Forest. I learned an amazing lesson, not just about the alchemy of a story and a stage and a crew to set the lights and an audience becoming an ethereal stew that morphs into actual magic, but also all the time it took to memorize the lines and show up at rehearsal and dream the biggest dreams I could to begin to bring art into the world and give it life. And even more than that, seeing my mother having to drive me from the Northwest Side up to a distant suburb. I learned the lesson there that there is no love without sacrifice. And we have all sacrificed to be here today, and we will continue to sacrifice for this thing that we love, this art, this craft, this magic. So do yourselves a favor and surround yourself with like-minded people that are going into this life not for likes or fame or money or, heaven forbid, celebrity, but for love and for love alone. And, oh, thanks. Hey, don't worry. There's more, I'll try to make it quick. But with that love, I found myself at the great halls of Columbia College, Chicago. And I loved my classes. I loved performing, especially in the black box theater downstairs. I had so many inspirational teachers, like my rabbi for life, Jeffrey Ginsburg, the wonderful, gorgeous Susan Padveen right over there, the incredibly tolerant and passionate Barbara Robertson, and of course, the one-of-a-kind Sheldon Patinkin. Rest in peace, I love you, man, and on and on. And I love being surrounded by actual professionals in their field, professional actors, professional directors, dedicated and brilliant. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I never completely knew why I was in school. I was always good when I was on stage, and many times I was great. But it was all very second nature to me, and I always felt like I was in control. So why was I here at Columbia College? Why was I getting a degree? What was the use? Took me a while to learn, but when I did, it smacked me in the face like a steam engine made of stone. So in 2006, one of my dreams came true, that was said, and I got a leading role on Broadway. I felt like I had hit the lottery. I was working with one of my best friends who was also cast in the play, and working with some of the greatest talents in this country, and just having an amazing time, and feeling like I was on top of the world, until show had just opened to mediocre reviews. My reviews were good. Well, it doesn't make, don't read reviews. The good or you believe the good, you gotta believe the bad. But I knew I was doing a good job. And then it happened, something that I never expected. The director caught me right before the curtain was about to go up for the second act. These guys started berating me for being the failure of the show. He said I had done something different at the beginning of the play that undermined his direction. And it was choices like that that were ruining this show. He told me it was my fault that this play that could have been great was ruined because of me. Finishing the second act of the play, where my character is basically interrogated, answering in long poetic monologues for almost 15 minutes directly after the curtain came up, I thought something that I had never thought before, truly, that I, Joseph Sikora, was a liar. I was not actually this character. I was saying things that happened that did not happen. My mind was fractured. The fire of my love became so dim, my magic a cheap trick. And from that moment on and to this very day, I have crippling stage fright. So bad I shake. The anxiety is so deep and so painful, it makes me want to quit every single morning and every single night. And I say all that to tell you that the question that I asked myself all those years ago during college and after, why did I go to Columbia? Why did I study? What was the purpose? The answer was this: the art of the pivot. The art of the pivot, perfected by the greatest basketball player to ever play the game right here in Chicago, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Let's give some love to the great one. When I am fully in the throes of stage fright, I can no longer go charging straight ahead like I was used to since I was a child, never questioning my talent, never questioning my feelings, just going for it, just making those choices from wherever they were plucked from in the ether. I needed to go back to my education. I needed to go back to figure out the triggers and the heaps, to understand the text backwards and forward. I went back to my Chekhov class and the lessons from my brilliant teacher, Kathleen Perkins. She taught me about the struggle for meaning in a seemingly meaningless world and how to find that transcendent reality in all of my characters. And how the wonderful and kind and incredible critic and teacher, Albert Bill Williams, give it up for this man right here. He stressed the need in my Singing for the Actor course to warm up my instrument, to relax my nerves, and allow my breath to be my guide. And of course, the unparalleled stage combat master, David Woolley, showing us by example in hours and hours of training and giving up his own time to instill in us the incredible lesson that every aspect of the performance is driven by who that character is, every step, every swing of the sword. But now I needed to memorize, and then I needed to memorize again, and then memorize in my sleep, and then again when I woke up. But because of my training, I could do it. If I had not had my education from Columbia College Chicago, my career would have been over almost 20 years ago. The art of the pivot, changing direction, reaching into my toolbox that I had developed right here, it saved me. It saved my career, and I'm pretty sure it saved my life. It demanded of me more time, more effort, more understanding, more thought, more questions, more love for the craft, for the story. Just like a tree doesn't grow as only a trunk. When you have learned the art of the pivot in your roots, in your foundation, it allows you to grow not only straight up, but also in ways that you never thought possible. Your beautiful limbs will pivot into a complex web of branches and skills and new ways of thinking, of living, of growing. To quote my boss and my friend, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, I never took a straight path nowhere. Life's full of twists and turns, bumps and bruises. I live, I learn. Stage fright is no match for the art of the pivot. So get out there knowing that you are prepared for anything. If something isn't going the way you planned, just pivot. Try something else. You are prepared in ways that you don't even know until they are revealed. So love hard every day, knowing that there will be sacrifice. And go full steam ahead, knowing that when something gets in your way, just pivot and keep moving forward. Congratulations, everybody, and thank you.